Donald John Trump, by causing such harm to the society of the United States, is unfit to be president and warrants impeachment, trial, and removal from office.
Following calls for impeachment by Congressman Al Green on the House floor, lawmakers voted 332 to 95 yesterday to table the resolution. The Texas Democratic congressman introduced the resolution for impeachment Tuesday after voting to condemn the president over racist comments directed at 4 Democratic congresswomen.
According to Congressman Green, bigotry qualifies as a high crime and lawmakers cannot afford to wait, saying, quote, "We risk having the blood of somebody on our hands, and it could be a member of Congress." Congressman Green joins us now from Capitol Hill to expand on this. He is a member of the House Financial Services Committee and a ranking member of the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. Congressman, first I wanted to get your reaction to the latest news of a Trump crowd chanting, "Send her back," last night.
Well, thank you for having me on the program. I'm very much disturbed about this. As you know, we not only voted to condemn the president, we also had articles of impeachment brought. And the president now has pushed the envelope to an extreme by taking this beyond his words to the words of other people. This is very serious, and what was said about someone being hurt is something that I take seriously. And to this end, I'm announcing to you for the very first time that I will be asking for additional money for security for all members of the House. The leadership has security. We must secure every member of this House because we are headed into uncharted waters and someone can be hurt.
Congressman, so your impeachment vote was dramatically defeated on the floor. You called it a marathon and not a sprint. What did you mean by that?
Well, what I meant by that is it's a process. I have in my hands here the very first articles of impeachment that we filed. These are the persons who are known as the first 58. I have the second articles and the people who voted for them. They are the 66 persons who voted to impeach. And yesterday we had 95 people to vote to impeach. So we're headed to 218. It's a process. And for anybody's who may be questioning whether or not this is over, it's not. We're going to go to 218. The president's going to be impeached.
What has Speaker Pelosi said to you about impeachment?
Our conversations are between us, and until she divulges what was said, I will continue to keep them between us.
Right, but I mean, it's no secret the speaker doesn't like what you're doing, and many of your Democratic colleagues feel that you're pushing them and putting them on the spot with many of their constituents, and you're forcing them to take a vote which is going to come back and hurt them in November. Do you have any concerns about that?
I have concerns about anybody that considers themselves in harm's way. It doesn't matter to me who you are, where you are. But I also concern myself about the people who suffer from bigotry, the people who are not here to vote for themselves. They have sent me here to speak for them and to vote for them. I will take this issue to the floor again. We cannot allow bigotry to rear its ugly head at the highest level of government. This is bigotry emanating from the presidency. This is the president now standing before a crowd of people having moved from lock her up to send her back. This is unbelievable in this country. If somebody doesn't take a stand, there will be no guardrails for this president. He disrespects the court. He now disrespects Congress. At some point, we must take this seriously and impeach him. That is the only solution.
But Congressman, do you worry that you're setting a standard that basically if the House of Representatives doesn't like somebody, that they can just impeachment? And that was the major argument against impeachment during the 1860s, against President Johnson, and then against President Clinton. It dramatically backfired in both cases.
Well, in 1868, actually,
yes,
the articles of impeachment had within them articles against Andrew Johnson for his bigotry. He was a racist, against his bigotry. And he was impeached for his bigotry. And he did not get reelected as a result of his bigotry. So I would not contend, if you will, that he was successful. he did not get reelected. As you know, President Clinton did not run for reelection. He was in his second term when this occurred, and Mr. Gore did not get elected. Impeaching a president places an indelible stain on that president. But aside from that, this is what the Constitution allows. Are we going to disrespect the Constitution and respect bigotry? I think not. These people who voted yesterday were noble. We will call them the Noble 95. And we will also ask for additional monies to protect every person in Congress so that people can walk freely and move freely with security. Leadership has security. It's time to secure all of the members of Congress.
Congressman, can you tell us what specific actions this president has taken that you consider bigoted enough to warrant impeachment?
We condemned him on one day. When we condemned him, we talked in those articles of resolution condemning him. We spoke of how he has corrupted society, not with those words, but how he is engendering hate among the American people. But aside from that, in the first articles of impeachment, I talked about the Muslim ban. I've also spoken about his words with reference to those bigots in Charlottesville. Jews will not replace us, they said. And a person was killed there. So it's my position that when you espouse support for these persons, and he said there were some fine people among them, and then you call countries in Africa S-hole countries, it's my opinion that you are inciting hateful rhetoric that can cause other persons to act, and they can, of course, harm someone. It's time for us to protect the members of Congress. I'm asking for more money for security for every member of Congress.
Congressman, what is your message to those individuals who were at that rally last night chanting, "Send her back"?
I would hope that they would understand the pain that they are engendering. I grew up at a time when it was commonplace to say, "Send them back." I had people to tell me that, to tell me to go back to Africa. Now this is after, mind you, people were brought here in chains, my ancestors. Now they would say to me, "Go back to Africa," after having given us the opportunity, if you will, to build this capital, to build this country. We picked cotton, made it king, and America great. Well, that is quite offensive to say to a person who's as much an American as anybody else in this country. I was born in Louisiana. So I believe that those people should please try to understand the pain and the hurt, but also understand that you may be inciting other people to do more than talk. Someone could be killed as a result of this. This is why we have to have additional security for every member of Congress. Every member should have the same level of security that leadership has. I'm calling for it.
Well, sir, at this time, the only member of Congress that's been attacked in recent years has been Steve Scalise as a result of rhetoric from the left. I mean, do you think that people, and Bernie Sanders in particular, should be impeached because one of his supporters ended up shooting a congressman? I think that seems to be a ridiculous position on my part. But
it is a ridiculous
part of this
position.
is also a broader thing of what you're talking about, which is you admitted that this is a political decision. You said that Andrew Johnson eventually did not win re-election. President Clinton did not. So you're saying that this is in order to inflict a political wound on President Trump. Is that right?
What I'm saying is what you said was ridiculous. And it is totally ridiculous to draw the line to someone because of what happened with Mr. Scalise. Now, we ought to protect Mr. Scalise. He needs more security. We had a member to be shot. Ms. Gabby Gifford was shot, and we need to do more to protect other members. But I'm not drawing a line from Mr. Trump directly to anyone, but I am saying that his words can incite people. And we've seen what can happen by virtue of what happened in Charlottesville. So I'm not attributing what happened to Mr. Scalise to a given person, but I am saying that rhetoric stokes those flames too. And it doesn't matter to me whether it's from the left or the right. It doesn't matter. If your rhetoric is insightful, then you ought to stop it. And it is not insightful, by the way, to call for impeachment. And I receive threats all the time for simply exercising my constitutional duty based upon the rhetoric that the president is using to incite. You see, it's not unusual to accuse the person who is trying to right the wrong of being wrong. This is typical in history. where persons who've tried to right wrongs being accused of being wrongdoers. They did it to Dr. King. I'm no Dr. King. They did it to Rosa Parks. I'm no Rosa Parks. But I am a person who believes that it is better to take a stand than to allow persons to continue to perpetrate bigotry. He or we who tolerate bigotry are part of the perpetuation of bigotry. I'm not going to tolerate it.
Congressman Green, thank you so much. We're really grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Next on Rising, from Wall Street investor to missions work.
Author Steve Oth explains how he balances Christianity and capitalism in his role as the missionary of Wall Street. That one, Rising, continues.